TSM out of the playoffs. FlyQuest move on. They will face Evil Geniuses. Jacob and only Jacob, give us your thoughts on this. Well, we're running out of time, so I'm trying to corral the troops here a little bit. Do you still hate trees, Jacob? Do you think this is the end of the road for FlyQuest?
FlyQuest in the chat.
You know what? I posted a Warax meme in the past week, so I'll have you know I don't hate trees. I am the Warax, and I represent the trees. No, I actually, like, I think Evil Geniuses is the better team, but I'm actually really excited for this series because I do think that there's a world where FlyQuest can take it, right? Like, I don't think that these teams are so inseparable in terms of skill that, like C9 are, right? Like C9 are like such a tier above both these teams. But I think these teams on a good day, one could take it home, right? Depending on who's playing better and who's drafting better. I would give the initial edge to Evil Geniuses. Clearly paying lots of money works. Yeah, and unless your team liquid. But nonetheless, yeah, this is the team that Evil Geniuses built. It's oddly funny that both these teams are basically knockoff C9 and have acquired either slots or players from C9 in the past. So the top three is C9 Light and C9 Yellow. And so here we are. And I think that I would give the initial edge to Evil Geniuses, but I'm excited for this one because I think that it's actually pretty close.
We got Jacob's thoughts on FlyQuest versus Evil Geniuses. A reminder, that game is going to be on ESPN2 and the ESPN app as well, 4 p.m. Eastern Saturday start. Tyler and Emily, why don't you give us your predictions for that matchup and how you see it shaking down? Emily, let's start with you.
I think it's going to be really close still, especially if FlyQuest play and prepare like they did in their series for TSM. I still think I'm going to give the nod to EG, but like I said, we've seen so many back and forth games and we've seen both of these teams make mistakes either in drafting compositions and then playing them out in a way that is suboptimal or, just making general mid-game objective mistakes. So I think it's going to be a 3-2 for Evil Geniuses.
What do you think of the mid lane matchup, Power of Evil versus Jizuke? I feel like Jizuke has been on a tear, and actually a lot of that, it hasn't been as dominant in the playoffs, but the games he's played well, he's played very, very well. So I wonder if he wins that matchup.
I mean, it's going to be really interesting because I feel like people have this idea because of how EG has been using Jizuke that he like can't hold mid pressure or like he can't, play Azir or stuff like that, which just isn't true. But I also think that based on like it's less about like the 1v1 matchup and it's more about how both teams want their mid laners to act. For PoE, they definitely want him to like sit there and hold mid, right? Like he's the center focus of the map. He's going to be an incredible team fighter. But you want him holding mid so that Santorin can kind of go wherever he wants. Whereas with Jizuke, what EG typically wants him to do is, again, push and get him into a side lane as quickly as possible so they can set up 1-3-1 or 4-1 split pushes. So it's less to me about the 1v1 and more about are these teams going to draft compositions that are like fit with how they want to play, and then how are they going to execute that? So it's really going to depend on like, sorry if that's like a cop-out answer, but it's really going to depend on draft for me, and then also how these teams start executing whatever champions that Jizuke and PoE are playing.
It's totally fine because Tyler will give us a definitive answer as he always does. Who's going to win this one, Tyler?
I'm going to go FlyQuest. I'm playing devil's advocate here. I think the support difference is too big. I think if Ignar makes this a messy series and he makes this a series where there's a lot of skirmishing, there's a lot of rotations around the map, where there's a lot of skirmishes through the jungle, I think he's a bigger X factor over Zazel, who I think is a good player. He's and I think Jat, I believe, brought this up in a recent episode of The Dive or This or That, where he said Zazel has a lot of good intangibles. He's a good shot caller. He's a good leader. He has a lot of smart ideas. He's a very smart player, but mechanically, he can't stand up to a player like Ignar, who can basically terrorize the map with his skills. So I think Ignar is the big X factor in this series. I also think Power of Evil in the matchup with Jizuke, he is more consistent. And if I have to bet on one player in a best of 5 series to be consistent throughout, I'm going to go with Power of Evil over Jizuke.